Alethea is in studio with us, and how are things going with the United Way?
United Way is doing really well. We just wrapped up our citizen review process, looking at all those applications, the agency applications for funding. We had 16 agencies apply for over 25 programs, seeking almost $360,000 in support for these programs. So we have a lot of returning programs. I believe every single one of these organizations was funded in the past. Everything from the Clinton County Special Athletes requested funding to help them get to their meets. You know, they have over 150 athletes that the ages 8 through almost 70 years old. And they, work to get these athletes into sports activities modified to meet their special needs. And so they're requesting funding to help with transportation costs that's mostly the biggest chunk of their expense that is really hard for them to meet.
That's going on this weekend, isn't it, in Ames?
I believe so.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, for them to come and ask United Way for funding as a trusted partner is really, it's a cool feeling.
Mm-hmm.
We have children programs, everything from childcare, literacy. The Dolly Parton Imagination Library delivers, a free book to every house for children up to age 5, birth through age 5. Right now they serve about 1,500 of about 3,000 youth in Clinton County, and they're hoping to increase that amount. And for one child to get a book every month for a year only costs $30. So really they can make a huge impact. Reading at that age really shows improved start to the school career when they start entering preschool and kindergarten. Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, programs that provide wraparound services related to domestic issues, violent crimes, that kind of stuff. Programs that provide wraparound services related to prevention for drug use, abuse, misuse. We have a new program this year, actually, with the Clinton Substance Abuse Council, is they have a program called the DeWitt Comanche Coalition. I'm sorry. And they engage youth in drug use prevention, alcohol prevention, that kind of stuff. And they have a youth advisory board. And they were talking with the youth about, these high school students. They were visiting with them and saying, what kind of things should we do? And they show them the stats of all these surveys that they do. And one thing that stuck out to this group of high school students was that middle school students had a low risk perception of drugs and alcohol. They didn't think it would really cause much problem if you drink or do drugs. And these high school students thought, adults can teach them. Teachers can teach them. These people that come in can teach these classes. But if we become peer mentors to them, it'll make a difference. And so it's really a neat idea that they wanted to help be a part of the solution. So we're going to support them with some funding. Just great, amazing things going on.
Listening to you and through the time that you've been coming in and prior to that, the scope of what the United Way does for our area is amazing. So people need to give to what you do provide.
Absolutely. And these are programs that really, they lift up all of us. If we lift up the lowest of us, the people that need these things, it really lifts up our whole community, our whole Clinton County. Even the programs that provide assistance with housing, shelter, food, clothing, those things. We have, the DeWitt Referral Center. It helps provide transportation costs for people, or same with the information referral and assistance, help connect people with the services that they need. And it's amazing that we have such dedicated leaders of these organizations that day in and day out work to help lift up all these people.
You've distributed the money. So now we get ready for the next fund drive, right?
Yes. So, you and I had talked earlier, we have our KROS golf outing on August 7th. More information will come on that. We're looking forward to starting to plan our fall campaign. We finished one, we got to right away start planning the next one, trying to think of ways to make it bigger, better, reach more people. we're looking at, last year, Brent and Brianne, who had run our Forks and Pork for a number of years, had said this is the last year. And we're really trying to figure out how we can keep Forks and Pork. That really is kind of a staple fundraiser for United Way. So we're really working to figure out how we can partner maybe with some organizations that have the ability to help us cook all that food and distribute it and still be able to provide that service for Clinton County residents.
I've always enjoyed the fact that a lot of the area industries really come forward to help you
Yes.
out. In particular, I think Forks and Pork, Lyondell Basell really.
Yes, they are. Lyondell Basell has been a wonderful partner for United Way with the Forks and Pork, with some of those fundraiser activities. Pretty much any of our big businesses have been big supporters.
Yeah.
And conversations, that I've heard, with Brent and Brianne from the past, that there's some organizations, larger organizations in town that have mentioned, hey, if we could do something at our location, kind of a private Forks and Pork kind of a thing, that we would order something for everybody. So we're trying to figure out,
Yeah.
is that in the realm of possibility? Is that something we can do? So trying to think outside of the box with some of these fundraisers, new innovative ways to do some fundraising.
I know right now you are interim.
Yes.
So you're hoping to maybe change that to a permanent title.
Yes, I have put my name in to take over as the director of United Way.
And I know you've got a very active board. How often do you guys get together? As you point out, you're trying to put together some ideas for raising money and different things.
Absolutely. The regular board meets once a month, the fourth Tuesday of the month. And then we have subcommittees that meet at different times during the month then, so that we're able to share everything that we've learned and discussed at our board meetings. And so we're working to build up, our campaign group, our marketing and innovative ideas for fundraising and whatnot. We are bringing back our Food Truck Fest kickoff event for the United Way campaign. That will be on September 23rd. As we develop that, as we get all of our food trucks registered, we will be spreading and sharing information on that as well.
So when does the actual United Way drive begin?
We're going to kick it off with that food truck festival in September.
Okay.
I'll be reaching out to local area businesses and organizations this summer, setting up a schedule for when we can get into their place of work and share what United Way does.
And it's so important. How can people give to you can give any time during the course of the year.
Yes, it does not have to be during campaign. It can be any time. On our website, clintonunitedway.org, we do have a Give Now link that people can do an online gift through that. You can also mail in a check if you prefer the old-fashioned route. We're at the U.S. Bank upstairs, 405 South 3rd Street, Suite 200. You can come on up to the office. I'm usually in the office every day from 9 to 5. So really any way that you want to give, we're able to do that.
And finally, before we let you go, and thank you so much for your time, talk a little bit about your passion, why you decided maybe this is something you want to do.
Boy, I think my passion goes back to when I was a child, living on a farm during the farm crisis, when the prices were just ridiculous and farmers struggled. And my family was a family that received assistance similar to what some of these organizations provide.
Mm-hmm.
My siblings and I still have very fond memories of going to pick up the government cheese. And, it was just so much fun to go there. It was delicious food. We felt like we were royalty. And I feel like I have been blessed in my life since then. My family we were able, with that hand up, we were able to get out of that struggling situation. And I just feel like if we can do that for others, it'll just lift up everybody.
Well, now you'll be back in again on June 17th. Will you
Yes,
know
I
by
will.
then if the interim tag has been taken off?
Yes, we will.
All right, very good. We'll see you then. Thank you so
All right.
much.
Thank you, Gary.
You're listening to AM 1340 KROS, Clinton, Iowa.
FM 105.9.